Hey guys, so in today's video, I wanted to talk about whether a career in medicine or healthcare could be for you and what you can do to kind of get into it. If you see me looking this way, I have my phone set up with some points that I wanted to make sure that I included, so don't mind me if I'm looking down or to the side. So first of all, if you have an interest in science and medicine, like enjoying subjects like biology, anatomy and physiology, chemistry, microbiology, things like that, medicine/healthcare might be for you. And especially if you're curious about how the human body works, that is definitely something that is important. A desire to help others is also something that is very important because that is basically the gist of what you will be doing every day working in healthcare. Are you passionate about making a difference in people's lives? Because every day will be a different chance or opportunity to make a difference in people's lives in a positive way, hopefully, because there are a lot of people who get into healthcare for the wrong reasons because they think that it is all about the money. And I think people get into it for the financial aspect of things and not the actual reasons why you should be getting into healthcare. Do you find a sort of fulfillment in caring for other people? I think this is something important to ask yourself because especially on those hard days or when you're dealing with a difficult patient or having to take care of somebody who is combative and aggressive, you have to know at the end of the day that it is something fulfilling in your life personally that you find by doing this type of work. Having resilience. Can you handle high pressure situations and emotional challenges, especially working as a CNA and even as a medical assistant? It has been very emotional. I've lost patients to cancer as a medical assistant, and I've lost patients who were on hospice or to other disease processes and things like that, working as a CNA in long-term care. Being able to overcome those emotional challenges and the emotional turmoil that comes with working in this field is something that is very important because it's something that you definitely need. It's a skill that you definitely need in order to succeed in healthcare. Are you comfortable dealing with illness, injury, and the death of someone? So again, like I said, I have lost numerous patients throughout my time working in healthcare, and it is just something that happens. Illness is something that is going to happen. There are people who are going to be sick, obviously, because what is healthcare? We don't actually care for people who are, always in 100% tip-top shape. People obviously seek healthcare services for sometimes the worst days of their life. Like when I had my strokes and, having to deal with, this life-changing situation. Obviously, it was not the best day of my life when I found out that I was paralyzed on my right side and, I needed people to help take care of me. And, you have to be comfortable dealing with illness, injury, and loss. Even not just patients' injuries or illnesses, but you could also catch an illness from a patient or a resident. You could be injured on the job. There have been multiple patients in long-term care, especially in the memory care setting, who actually injured me because they did not know what they were doing. They didn't know what I was there for. They didn't know how I was trying to help them. And, I almost broke my wrist because a patient grabbed my arm and slammed it in between the bed rails on their bed. So that's another story for a different day. If you guys want more information about that and how I dealt with combative patients, let me know. Another important thing is the ability to work in a team. Now, I have made multiple videos like this on my channel in the past about having issues dealing with people, coworkers who did not want to do any sort of teamwork, and you will find that in any work environment. But healthcare is a lot of teamwork. Depending on what level you work with, you're going to work with people who are in higher level jobs, lower level jobs, etc., and you have to collaborate to make the patient's experience a positive one, hopefully. So, for example, healthcare professionals like CNAs often work with nurses, doctors, um, other types of allied healthcare professionals, sorry, like rad techs and things like that, phlebotomists. And like I said, doctors, nurses, and technicians, other technicians like phlebotomists, things like that. And this also is hand in hand with the teamwork. Do you know how to communicate well? And are you a team player? Obviously, to be good at teamwork, you need to be a team player because you have to understand that healthcare and medicine is definitely very collaborative, and it just doesn't work as well if you're not willing to work with each other and if you don't know how to communicate with other people. Something else that is important is being comfortable working long hours and having a commitment to your patients and your coworkers. Many healthcare roles require long shifts, including nights and weekends. It just kind of depends on which type of job role or the facility that you work at, what your schedule will be. Usually, you find these out before you're hired, so they will usually tell you when you're being offered a position, what hours you will be expected to work. And whether you'll be expected to work weekends and things like that. And are you ready for making the investment in training? Because a lot of healthcare roles require little training. A lot of healthcare roles require higher training. So if you're looking at becoming a physician or a nurse practitioner or a nurse, that is going to obviously require much more education than if you were becoming a phlebotomist or a CNA, for example. Not saying that any of these roles are better than the other, but it does vary in time commitment and education. So those are things to take into consideration as well. Something else would be strong problem solving and critical thinking skills. Are you able to work well under pressure? Because healthcare, depending on the field that you work in, but most parts of healthcare, you have to be able to think quickly and respond quickly and do well under pressure. Even in long-term care, there are emergencies that can happen just at the drop of a hat, and you have to be able to respond in a safe and efficient manner quickly. Are you willing to continually learn and adapt? So healthcare is an ever evolving field, and you have to constantly be seeking out new opportunities to learn, new educational opportunities, things like that. It's definitely something that is important in this field. And so just take that into consideration as well as adapting, because like I said, it is a continually evolving field. So you have to keep that in mind as well. There's constantly new things coming out in every different aspect of healthcare as well. So like I said, keep that in mind. And the last thing would be interest in a stable and growing field. So healthcare careers often have job security because there are a lot of people, for whatever reason, who may choose to look for a different position because it is so demanding and they got into it for the wrong reason. Or they want to look for travel opportunities and things like that. This is going to be a field where you have a lot of job security. And there are a lot of opportunities for advancement within the healthcare field as well. So like I've talked about in multiple different videos, I have multiple certifications within the healthcare field, and I am all for getting however many certifications you are happy to get, and keeping them current, by the way, because I have a CNA certification, I have regular CPR, BLS, ACLS, and I chose to take the ACLS course. I have phlebotomy and CCMA certified clinical medical assistant, as well as TB skin test training. And there's a couple of other things, like I had a certified personal trainer, and there was one other one that was like nutrition based, that wasn't like a national certification. It was just a class that I took. So there's a lot of different opportunities to learn things and get different certifications, but seeking out those opportunities, you have to be the type of person who is going to consistently learn. And are you looking for a career with strong growth potential? Because like I said, there are multiple CNAs that I know who went back to school to either become LPNs or RNs and climb that ladder. There are also LPNs and RNs who I know that decided to go on to become nurse practitioners, who decided to get doctorates. And like there's also others that I know, like within the lab setting, who became not like a phlebotomist, like phlebotomist becoming like a lab technician or things like that to further their career. So if you guys have any other questions, that is it for this video. But if you guys have any other questions or want to leave any comments, please do that below. And yeah, if there's any topics you would like me to discuss on my channel in the future, I would be more than happy to do so. So I will talk to you guys in my next video.